Hey, Anita. Hey, Megan. We're going to wait for a few more individuals to join us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Jennifer. Hey, Wayne. We're just waiting for a few more folks to join us. And if you can, please put your name, your organization, and your email in the chat for us.
Hey, will do.
Donna and I got the same memo.
Yep. Team Blue. All right.
Wow, you really did. Nice.
Yeah, it's just even the
Nice
same
done. Nicely
shade.
done, ladies.
Hermione and I have on the same color.
Oh,
Don't we? Don't we? Let me turn
We
my
can't
camera
see.
on.
that's right.
It's
It's
close.
not very.
It's
It's
close.
close. We're close. Don't be hating.
Okay, I'll wait one more minute and then we'll get started because I value other people's time. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here with us today and welcome to the Employment Subcommittee meeting. I'm Donna Farrar, the Wake LRC Reentry Case Manager, and I also have here with me.
Melinda Todd with Capital Area Workforce Development and Strategic Initiatives.
All right, so I'm gonna give you all a recap of our meeting from January of this year, just to kind of get us started and kind of picking up from where we left off during that time. We did mention that we wanted to focus on building an employer roundtable, and we did talk about a few different employers that we wanted to start reaching out to first. And some of those employers were the state of North Carolina, Wake County government, of course, I believe TransDev or Go Raleigh. Go Raleigh is their, I guess, commercial name, but behind the scenes is TransDev. And then we also want to identify the city of Raleigh and possibly another employer, but we wanted to start there. And just being able to ask them questions of, how could we get justice involved individuals hired and what would be the benefits for the job seekers as well as the employers. So we were talking about building that out. Um, and at the end of our meeting, we said that we would come up with kind of like a mainframe of just different questions that we could ask them, or how we wanted to present a written email to them first before we actually started talking to them. And Melinda, she sent out a Google Doc, but nobody responded to it. So we are hoping that we could pick up where we left off and start with that Google Doc to kind of formulate the email. Does that sound good to Megan? I know Megan, you were there the last call.
Yep, that's great.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay, and just give me a thumbs up if you see a Google Doc. Great. All right. Melinda, did you want to jump in or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think because what we had talked about, kind of almost three different things, is that one, just thinking about, if we send a letter or present to employers, what are some things that we want to make sure we include? And I know we had some people on the last call who've had some success reaching out into employers, and we know some of the basics, but we would love to hear from people's personal experience of employers didn't care about this, or this was really what got them excited. I remember Carolyn Perry last time shared some things that have worked well for her. And then that second piece is just when we do get employers together, particularly for this roundtable to help feed what we're doing, what are some of the questions that we have for employers? And we do, and I'm trying to see if anyone here is from Wake Tech. Not this time, but we had a really good conversation in this meeting, and then a follow-up meeting where we may have an opportunity really quickly to start talking to employers about hiring people who've gone through the culinary arts program who came from Reentry. So I think it's exciting that it's not just going to be theoretical. We're actually needing to put together kind of these talking points for meeting with employers. So, and I see has everyone who's on the call been part of the call before? Because we don't need to do introductions, but maybe it might be good to do quick introductions. I know Jennifer Jackson is new to this committee. She's going to be on mute, but it might be good just for her to hear who else is there, because she's part of the executive committee partnership with this committee. So. Thank you, Jennifer. So I think some of us introduced ourselves. Megan, do you mind introducing yourself?
I just put a cookie in my mouth.
I could tell.
I am Megan Eilenberger. I'm the director of programs at Dress for Success Triangle, and also of Wilson County. So we just are expanding into Wilson County as well.
And Anita?
I'm going to go back to my cookie.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anita Powell. I think everyone knows me. I'm here I'm a DWS reentry specialist and was asked to be on this committee. And I think it's exciting because we had a gentleman to come yesterday sponsoring a roofing academy, and they help mainly reentry persons and vets. They don't only do roofing, they also show people how to do solar paneling and different things that I need to help prep that. And he's looking for people. He was in the office yesterday. So Donna, maybe we can share a meeting with him. He said he's willing to come back. At the time that he came through was very quickly yesterday, but I did get to speak with him. So maybe it's a possibility, and they specifically hire people with background.
Okay, that sounds good.
And do you mind sharing the name of the employer? Maybe we can add him to our potential employers list.
Okay.
Or if
It's
you're not
called
there yet.
GAF Roofing Academy. And I can, and www.gaf.com/roofing academy. I'll put it in the chat, and I'll also come back there, Danya, and bring you a hard copy.
Okay, thank you.
Now, he is located in Apex. Sorry, I had just put something in my mouth also.
That tells you something about how many meetings we have, that we've all got to just grab something and go.
Yes, this is my third one today. You are correct. Thank you all.
Thank you. Wayne? Oh, I think maybe some people have to stay on mute. And Kim, I know you've been at this meeting before. Do you mind introducing yourself?
I'm here if you still want me. This is.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, I'm with the Alliance Disability Advocates State Reentry Program. We assist pre and post incarcerated. We provide for those that are incarcerated what we call an IRP, or individualized resource plan, with resources specifically consumer needs and wants, and in the specific county and even city they're in. And we also do post-release for 5 counties, Wake, Johnson, Durham, Franklin, and Orange County. My super is Cherie Brown, and so that's really me.
Terrific. Thank you. All right, Kim.
Hey, I'm Kim Stone. I'm with IPMW. I'm a program director for the Women's Reentry Project. And I am going to tag team out, actually. It's good to see you all. And I'm going to, Jennifer's here, so I'm going to jump off of here. Have a good afternoon.
All right,
I'll
you
probably
too.
see you in a little bit.
Thank you. Is there anyone who didn't get a chance to introduce themselves?
Yes, I'm Sharif Brown, Program Manager for State Reentry with Alliance of Disability Advocates. I'm Wayne Bell's supervisor, and the reentry program that we actually are running is one that is not done anywhere else as far as the pre and the post release that we are offering with these individualized reentry plans. Like Wayne alluded to, we do serve the 5 counties that he mentioned, but we can take referrals from any county across the state. We're contracted to go into 13 prisons to perform this IRP work face-to-face with our justice-involved individuals, and obviously trying to support them post-release, whether it's education, whether it's independent living skills, resources, mental health services, community connections, community resources. These are all the things that we're doing at ADA for free. We don't charge anything whatsoever.
Great, that's an amazing resource.
I'm Pamela Davis from Volunteers of America, Chesapeake and Carolinas, Supportive Services for Veterans and Families. And we cover 61 of the 100 counties in North Carolina working with our veterans. And Wake County happens to be one of the 17 that I cover. So I sit in and listen to what's going on. Yeah, I cover 17 counties. The Durham office does. Fayetteville office covers 15. Our Rocky Mount office covers 19 counties, and our Salisbury office covers 10 counties. And it is a pleasure to sit in and listen at what's going on with the Wake LRC and the different things. So it's very informative each time I sit in. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Demetrius Pooley here. I serve as a policy and program analyst with the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. Happy to be in the meeting.
Great. Well, I think that's everyone. We're beginning to have a more consistent group month that I don't know, every other month that we have, but it's good to see everyone. Do you want to start in on our talking points, Donna? Or the questions, either one, whatever one makes more sense to start with.
Okay, yeah, I guess we can start with the talking points. So just as a recap of what I stated earlier, we are composing a email to potential employers to introduce, building a partnership and a network of the Second Chance Employer Initiative, so that we can have a discussion with small subset of employers. And we just want to know what would be some good talking points when we have that opportunity. Anybody?
I'll just share. I remember what Carolyn shared last time before we started the list was just really going to the employer and asking them kind of generally what are their needs, what are their talent needs, instead of just focusing on what we're selling.
I found, if I can say something, a good talking point sometime with employers is to bring up the federal bonding. A lot of employers are not aware of the federal bonding and how it works. And the more we use, the more they give to the state to be used. So that's a good talking point, is to bring up federal bonding to employers, because it's like a win-win situation.
Great.
That's an excellent point. And, a lot of people do not know about the federal bonding. So that's a phenomenal resource. We also do federal reentry. So I know all about that. I would say, as far as the talking point goes, because I'm more biased toward the population that I'm serving, would be reasonable accommodations and their transparency with actually assisting individuals with a second chance opportunity.
This is Lenarda, and my feelings aren't hurt if you say I'm veering off, but we do an expungement clinic, and often we talk about something called a certificate of relief. And so the attorneys who talk about that said it's not really popular, but if we go out there and share what it is, which is it's a letter from a court saying, hey, I take a chance on this person, that might be something, just not really delving into that deeply, but just kind of introducing that to say, hey, this, some of our clients may even come in with this piece of documentation. So.
No, I think it's a good point, because particularly if they're aware of it or if they're concerned, not sure what they're getting into, that's kind of like that additional kind of insurance. So I'm going to throw this out there and just see what people think. So there is some data out there that shows that returning citizens are more loyal and will stay for a longer period of time. Do you think that would be something that'd be a selling point, or is that too in the weeds?
It's a great selling point. It was actually during the height of the COVID time, when other people wouldn't come to work, a lot of times the people with backgrounds or just as involved were given more of an opportunity than they wouldn't been given at any other time, because when it was hard to find employees just as involved and background friendly, people let down their guard more, for not saying other words, and gave the people with backgrounds more of a chance during that time because other people were not going to work.
And just to piggyback on what Anita said, that's an excellent selling point. Obviously, the one thing that employers do not like is turnover as far as staffing goes. So if we're able to push that these justice involved individuals that you are giving a second chance to are actually going to be more loyal than the regular citizen per se, that's a great selling point, because it might actually give a justice involved individual a leg up over the rest of the population. So that's an excellent selling point.
Oh, what about also just the preparation that the clients that we serve are provided, whether it's like soft skills training, customer service training, help with resume, just kind of the way a lot of our different partners prepare people for employment.
Well, that's actually one of the things that we do at ADA. That's an independent living skill. So we work on resume writing, mock job interviews, cover letter writings, and things like that as far as employment goes. And we also have something that's called a suit closet at ADA, to where all of these suit drives from Men's Warehouse and Joseph A. Banks that are in the Triangle area, we get all of those donated suits, and essentially we clean them and we press them, and we give them out for free to our justice involved consumers, just to make sure that they have the proper attire to go on a job interview and to be able to work. And then we also have connections to Dress for Success to make sure that we obviously are addressing the female need for clothing as well. So that's also something that's very, very vital and important. If you don't look the part, or you don't feel like you look the part, then it's going to show in every other aspect of your job interview. So we do that as well.
Can I ask a question? I'm looking at what you have here as far as the soft skills and job training wraparound services. So would you just say, just share with, from the employer's perspective, that their interest would be that there's a coach that, or a mentor that a liaison of sorts, maybe, that would be there for X amount of time. I think I heard that from Carolyn Vincent or something. And I'm trying to see how that job and soft skills stuff would be. Well, I know it's beneficial to the employer. I'm just trying to look from a different lens.
Yeah, I think it depends on what services, because we're talking about a lot of different, but certainly like if we had a mentoring program going, or if they're coming from a mentoring program, I think that's a huge selling point, that there's someone there who's kind of like in their corner, but it can also do some of that coaching.
Yep, I think that is extremely important, just a liaison, because if you're talking about employers that who feel nervous about what might transpire, knowing that there's somebody who is, familiar with, it could just alleviate some of the anxiety that gets in the way of their moving forward in this way. And then I also would just add, again, to kind of alleviate that anxiety, just a list of those, and there are more now than there were even a few years ago when we were talking about this, those employers who do hire. And I would go as far up as JP Morgan and the Second Chance initiative that they have launched nationwide, but just understanding that they're not alone and that there are legitimate companies, governments, and maybe even smaller companies that are their size, can let them understand that this isn't as big a deal as they think that it is.
I think Red Hat should be added to that list. Does that sound right, Melinda, Natalie? You guys remember Red Hat had reached out to us for something?
It's very specialized. Though.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There's some hoops.
Okay.
Yeah. The distribution center, but there again, that but there are some agencies, some companies that reached out and said that they really wanted to include the justice involved in their DEI initiatives, and looking at having inclusive hiring practices. And I think Target was one. Target has a DEI program, as well as the Body Shop. Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one reason some of these early ones where we talked about local governments, I think are such a good one to go to, because they're, at least in my experience, a little more bought into kind of providing support and wanting to see people succeed.
I can see that.
I think, yeah, Donna's already moving on. But yeah, I was a safe place. Yeah, I think we've got a good list, that particularly as we start to think about how to describe it and put it in a compelling narrative. But yeah, so let's say we get 4 or 5 employers that either have hired people or are interested. What are some of them, just the general questions that we want to know that'll help us do a better job of preparing clients, matching clients, and getting them to these employers that are open?
I'm going to say one of the obvious questions are, what are your concerns and what are your needs?
Mm-hmm.
What are your concerns and what would make you feel comfortable? How can we address that, I guess?
And Jennifer, I don't know if you can respond to this, but I know it's been a few years, but we had a really good meeting with the city of Raleigh. Have you had any conversation with them since, or is that something we should need to try to pick up that thread again? Yeah, she may not. She said she needed to be on mute, so.
I think it's maybe not like a question, but we can include in this email about who we are, what we're trying to accomplish, and how we want to partner with second chance employers.
Yeah.
And maybe some of those benefits in that initial email, some of those
Mhm.
like 3 top benefits, some of that data that Melinda mentioned earlier, like they're more dedicated, more
Mhm.
loyal. Or I think it was more loyal.
And also more appreciative, because a lot of times individuals that are in regular society, their job really doesn't mean that much to them. But when you're being re-entered into society, and that's your only means of employment, you're going to try to hold on to that job with both hands, both feet, your mouth, belt, everything that you can hold on to it with. So loyalty is also going to be loyalty, and obviously more appreciative of the second chance opportunity, because a lot of you guys already know a lot of our justice involved individuals don't get that second chance at all. So for those that get it, from my personal experience, I've known that they fight tooth and nail to do everything they can to keep that job and to excel in that employment.
Oh, maybe also just what are their preconceived notions? So we know kind of what we're up against when we're reaching out to other employers. You know, we kind of have like, what are their concerns, but
Like, what are the fears or what have you heard?
yeah, or just, I hate to say it, but like, what are your stereotypes?
Yeah.
Why is it that, and particularly if we've got companies that are interested, they can just share, what are some of the things that they worry about, but, or yeah, because I think particularly as we expand, we're going to have to combat some of those stereotypes.
As you were saying that, I'm sorry, this is Natalie. As you were saying that, Melinda, I was thinking, some of what may have prevented them from taking on this type of initiative previously may be policy issues, internal policy issues. And so I'm wondering if there is some piece of education that they would want to be interested in that might influence their policies even, that makes it a doable partnership.
Can you say that again briefly? I didn't.
Donna, you know.
Just like 5 words.
It could be just like
policy, just look at.
Like their policy, the employer's policy?
Yeah, it could just be like, do you currently have policies that create barriers to employment?
Thank you, Melinda. Donna knows the rule. If you don't record me, I don't really remember.
Because it could be like a formal policy, like we can't have anyone with a record, or it could be, you know, some ones that they don't even realize creates barriers.
So
like,
so I don't know if this is on topic, but bring me back if I'm going off track. Like we work right here in the NC Works Career Center, and Equus is one of, you know, the employers who are here. And I found out from HR that they've never hired anyone who has a criminal background. So, I mean, could we even start with them or try to bring them to the table? Because this is what the workforce is about. We're serving these people, but they're not actually hiring them. So I feel like they should, you know, be a part of the table too, because we have people here who volunteer in this center. They're already doing the work. They're already being involved with the systems and databases. So why not give them the opportunity? They've already invested all this time. What's the difference? So
I like that.
Like, think you could just have all the people all the companies we contract with and have a meeting with them about their programs. That's something where we've got a little bit of skin in the game.
Yeah. And it may be that they hear something from somebody else who's getting something out of it that convinces them to think differently. Who knows?
I mean, not, of course, we're just a small little board. Well, we're a big board for North Carolina, but we're in the big scheme of things, we're pretty small. But I mean, what if we had a policy that said we only contracted with organizations that had an open policy to hiring people with records?
Is
Sorry,
that doable?
You are taking us the other direction, but it's a good direction.
Yeah, more inclusive.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be that big of a stick, but yeah, that's right, Jennifer. Start.
But yeah, I think along those lines too, because it affects different areas. So the person could not only be justice involved, but if they do have a physical or intellectual disability, or if they're a mature worker, I think we need to address all of those.
All of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I don't know. So of course we're Wake County here, but one of our partners is JCI in Johnston County, and they specifically do a lot of work with people with mental and physical disabilities. So they might be even helpful in leading that conversation.
And they've done it for years. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I wonder if it even goes beyond kind of our network. I mean, I could even see maybe, so some people may be aware of this, but we have a partners meeting quarterly with all our partners across the county. It could be even a presentation where we talk to them about their own hiring practices. Because it's one thing we're doing all this outreach, but trying to do something within our sphere of influence.
So way back when, Ben David, who was the Attorney General for Wilmington, I don't know if he still is, but he got a lot of play and was around the prior reentry council table because of his TED Talk. So if you Google Ben David, Wilmington, Second Chance or something like that, if I can find the link, I'll send it. But he actually met with the business leaders. He was on the fore of Second Chance Hiring before it was even called Second Chance Hiring. Dennis could definitely tell you more about him, but his TED Talk was to the business community. So it was, you know, like-minded folk, very much like the role that you play, ally talking to ally, you know, talking to his people. And it was compelling. Now, this was, you know, like 7 years ago. So, you know, I'm sure there are updates, but some of that framing is what led us to cause the PowerPoint that I shared with Lenarda. But I would even say before starting it with, you know, with rules and the like for them, having a general informational session about the whole context and start to get them on board, and using that business language, which is what Ben David was able to do. It was really effective and very, very impressive. Ben David, D-A-V-I-D. He was the Attorney General at that time, I think, of Wilmington.
It's really cool. We hadn't talked about this before, but it's almost like there's another thread here. There's trying to work directly with employers to meet their needs within that general kind of, it's not exactly policy work, but it's almost like marketing of just generally like putting together something that would get people thinking about their policies, and maybe they eventually funnel into this more direct one-on-one or one-on-4 of reaching out to employers. Education, that's what it is. The education piece of this. We've got like real recruitment, and then we've got general education that hopefully will funnel into recruitment.
Anyone else have anything to add or something we should consider?
Well, I put a couple of my employment partners in the chat that ADA is partners with that are only interested in hiring individuals that have some kind of a background. This is based upon the strength of the reentry program that we have, that they wanted to partner. So anyone that essentially that we send their way, they're going to give strong consideration to employment. Monarch is probably one of the biggest employment networks in the state. According to what they told me, they receive 1,000 applications a week. But if anyone that comes through my reentry program, or anyone that my agency refers to them that has their GED, they are guaranteed a job interview with them regardless, no matter what. So just another resource for employment of our population that we're trying to serve.
That's cool though. I wonder, that's maybe something under the general education goal, is to, you know, create a policy. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but just the idea if you could have partners make some commitment to interview.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I can definitely have them partner. I mean, to do an interview, that's not an issue. They're really interested in trying to help individuals with their reentry. So just let me know when you want to put that together and I will pull the strings.
What was the name of your agency again?
We're called ADA for short. That's the acronym, but it stands for Alliance of Disability Advocates. We're located in Raleigh. We're a center for independent living, that specializes in giving free resources and services to the disabled population, senior citizens, and veterans. So we do pretty much a lot. I'll put the agency website in the chat, so you guys are more than free to go to the website and look around and see what we do. And you never know, we might be able to partner somewhere down the line.
Yeah, and I mean, like based on what you've said, and I might be jumping ahead, but like if you already have a partnership and if you're a part of the WIG LRC, instead of starting from scratch, if you're willing to, you know, invite the employers that you've already been working with to the table, and having a discussion like that may help jumpstart the process. So.
No, that's fine. Like I said, that's not a problem. Just let me know when you want to put that conversation together as far as date goes, so I can reach out to my partners and them and my contacts and have them join the discussion.
Okay, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Donna, this is just a quick reminder. You received an email introduction, you and Harmony last week, from me to Sharif, and you'll also recall during the meeting, the staff meeting, we mentioned some information about that program.
Oh, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together. I'm sorry.
Ms. Williamson and I had the opportunity to Zoom about a week and a half back, and she's actually the reason why I'm even in this meeting right now. So that meeting went very, very well, and I'm really, really interested and eagerly anticipating the partnership with the LRC to try to help our population. So anything that you guys need from me, especially when it comes to the disabled population, just let me know.
We will do. And thank you, Leonardo, for the connection. We appreciate that. So based on our discussion so far, I believe we have a starting point, something of where we can work from. So based on that, we will like start to compose the email, and then we'll also start with the information session. So we'll kind of be doing those 2 components of the education and the recruitment piece. So jump starting them both because we need them both. Other than that, to kind of just wrap up this segment, because this is on our priority list, that we start to develop the employer roundtable and start introducing and developing the second chance employers so that we can serve individuals who come through our doors the best that we can, and providing them quality, good, living wage jobs, because we just don't want to introduce those employers who maybe $7.25 an hour, because we know that nobody in Wake County can live off of that. So we definitely want to build out that roundtable, the network and recruitment of introducing employers who really care about these individuals, and that it will be a 2-fold benefit, not just for the job seeker, but of course for the employer too. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And so I'll be providing some updates from that conversation out to you all. I can't say it will be tomorrow, but it'll be coming. And then next up, I just wanted to share that we still have 2 openings for co-chair opportunities. If anyone is interested in that, being a co-chair to kind of represent the employment subcommittee. So you can email one of us and let us know. I think we did have one person who might have been interested, but I don't see him on the call today. Next up, we have some announcements. We will have the expungement clinic coming up on April 7th. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And this is to kind of kick off our Reentry Month. It's National Reentry Month for the month of April. So of course here at Wake LRC, we're going to be sponsoring some events and working with some different partners to bring awareness to reentry and things to offer individuals and partners in our community. So that first event again is the Legal Aid Expungement Clinic from No to Yes on April 7th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to also have some additional reentry events, and we'll have a calendar for you. There's a lot of events, so I don't want to necessarily list them all out and get them wrong, but we'll definitely send out some information regarding that. So be on the lookout. And if you guys are doing any reentry events in April, let us know as well, and we can include them in just sharing that information. We also will be we're partnering with Dress for Success with their virtual hiring event, as well as the Durham LRC on April 8th to bring virtual hiring event to individuals who have been justice involved.
I think that's
And
April
that's for
7th.
ladies.
That's April 7th, Donna.
No, April 8th.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Let's say we got Megan right here.
Yeah, you're right. It is the 8th.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. I apologize.
And
She just
Megan,
added it to it.
is this
Yes.
for ladies only? Or is it kind of open to the
So
public?
it's virtual, so it really is open to anyone
Okay.
who wants to log on.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why the website's not populating, but that is the website.
Okay, yeah, so if you guys have
Maybe it's just me.
individuals who want to register, you can click that link or go to the Dress for Success website to register. You can also register yourself if you'd like to just hear about the information, learn how they do the hiring events. Megan, did you want to share anything additional about that event?
Yep. So we anticipate having between 15 and 20 employers. Each employer visits us for 20 minutes and has their own room. And also important to note that job participants will not be on camera, so they don't have to worry about being camera ready, and they don't speak. So they just interact with the employers in the chat box. So it's kind of a nice, it's a nice interaction for them.
Okay, great. And then another announcement that I'd like to share is that Wake Tech Community College, they are having a basic culinary and restaurant certification class coming up April 5th through June 15th. It's going to be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday nights, I believe from 6 to 9. So if your organization is interested, because there is a fee associated with the course. So if your organization can sponsor that individual, that would be great. Or if not, and they're eligible for our services, you can reach out to us as well to see, if that's a good fit. And if they're serious about it, we can connect them with Wake Tech to obtain that certifications, as well as get in front of potential employers who are thirsty for job seekers right now.
Yeah, when we met with Samir, who runs the program, he shared one that most employers they work with are vendor friendly, and he's got employers on site while they're being trained. So basically people leave there with jobs.
Yes. Does anybody else have any other announcements that they'd like to share? No? All right. So Natalie, I am going to put you on the spot just for a second, just to kind of give a short recap about kind of the transition and the direction of how the subcommittees are going, and if you'd like to introduce Jennifer Jackson. Okay. Why are you laughing?
Well, good afternoon. Did you have that slide? Do you want to show that slide?
Yeah, I'll show the slide.
Okay, so when we initially started, we started right at the heart of COVID. And so what we knew is that there were men and women who were coming home and they needed our assistance. And so we pulled our team together to put our heads down and make sure that we could help those men and women. And we did that by forming the subcommittees out of this larger body of the council. And the work that you guys are doing in the subcommittee is what drove the success of this program throughout COVID until now. But the actual design of the local reentry council is that it starts with the Department of Public Safety. It is actually a grant that is awarded to an agency to become the intermediary, which simply means that they manage the council. And we inherited a very functioning council that was doing great work. And so we were able to step in and learn from you all what things you wanted to add to the council and how we could be of assistance to you all as the intermediary. But the design is that it goes from DPS to capital area as the intermediary, and then from the intermediary to support this council that you guys make up. From the council, there are two leadership committees, and that's the executive committee and the advisory committee. The executive committee is charged with creating the strategic plan that guides the work of the council and subcommittees. The advisory committee is that body that is charged with the advocacy piece. So we have the perfect partnership with the Wake County chapter of Second Chance Alliance, who's already doing the advocacy piece, whose goals are already aligned with what the LRC seeks to accomplish. And they've agreed to serve as the advisory committee to this council. And so for those of you who are interested and able to actively advocate for some of the systemic change that we know is needed, I encourage you to learn more about getting involved with that advisory committee. The executive, excuse me, as I said, the executive committee is charged with that strategic plan and guiding all of our work. But we started with the cart before the horse because we started with you all's work groups, the subcommittees. And you all created, each of these three subcommittees worked hard to create priorities to meet the needs that were in front of us. We're now at a stage where we have brought on the executive committee. They have their leadership in place. That's a chair, a co-chair. They also have positions called subcommittee liaisons. And it is the role of the subcommittee liaisons to connect the work of the strategic plan and the priorities of the subcommittees so that they are in alignment. That liaison will work with your chair and co-chair to make sure that everything flows and connects back to the strategic plan. Donna mentioned Jennifer Jackson because Jennifer was elected into the liaison role for this employment subcommittee. And so what we've been looking at with the subcommittees is just to say that the hard work that you guys are already doing, we're looking to give some real key strategic points to our liaisons to influence the work that they're doing around building a strategic plan. This is a newly formed committee, and they're just starting with building a strategic plan with a consultant firm. And so as all of this good discussion that you guys have had this afternoon, Jennifer can take back to the conversation as they build out the strategic plan. And so her relationship to you all really is key so that the priorities are aligned with the strategic plan. So I'll give it back to Donna to introduce Jennifer Jackson as your liaison.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen.
Without any further ado.
There we go. I'd like to introduce, I don't know, Jennifer, if you can hop on camera real quick, but, or if you're still on here, are you still here? No, I think
still
she's
here.
still here.
Yep, she's
Oh, you
there.
are? Okay, there she is. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jennifer Jackson of IPMW, Interfaith Prison Ministry for Women. Would you like to say anything?
Nope, just glad to be here. Thank you.
All right. I'm
Great to
glad
see such a wonderful group.
we're glad you're here as well. All right, so thank you for that, Natalie. And then just moving forward, so until we get further instructions, this is how we're going to proceed forward as far as what we've already established as our priority, which is building out that employer roundtable and bringing employers to this network so that we can all serve the individuals who so desperately need a living wage and better employment. And there's so many individuals who are looking for that. To wrap up today's meeting, I've already shared the announcements with you. Our next employment subcommittee meeting will be on May. Let me make sure I got my date right. It's going to be May 26th, and same time, same place. So we'll definitely be sending you out that information. And we're looking forward to continuing doing what we need to do. So thank you all for joining us.
And if
let-
anyone's interested in leadership, please let us know.